Assalamu alaikum, welcome everyone. Okay, we are excited to start our session today. So we have our speaker, brother Safdar Zaman. He is an architect and director at Microsoft with deep insight in data in AI and machine learning. So I'll just give it to brother Safdar to start us through.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for coming over here. My name is Safdar Zaman. I'm working in Microsoft and I'm into AI and machine learning. So we'll go over the generative AI basically. So there are so much discussions going on right now. What is generative AI? And this is a fact. I think we cannot close our eyes that it is disrupting every industry, every job, every sector. So anybody who says that my job or my role profile will not be, I will not say impacted. Impacted is not a good word, but I would say would not be part of the generative AI disruption, then that would be wrong, right? So this is going to hit everyone. Today we will try to cover basically that how we can prepare ourselves for this change which is going to happen, whether we like it or not, it's going to happen, and how we can quickly get over and bring our skills basically to bridge that gap. So one thing throughout the presentation, I would highlight that Gen AI is basically for everyone. It's not for young people only, it's people who want to switch careers in their 50s, 40s and 60s. So first of all, we need to start this presentation with that scope in mind, that Gen AI is for everyone, right from young adults to the people who are senior in the positions, right, and they can switch at any time. So I will basically, to set the theme, I will start first basically with generative AI myths and facts. So the first fact basically, I know most of you people will be thinking that I need to be a coder, a very good coder to get over Gen AI, and I'm here to say that is not correct. So first of all, we need to make sure that we understand that Gen AI is not about coding. Gen AI is something else, but let me see what. So the myth is that you need to be a coding expert for generative AI. But the fact is this, that all the LLM models, they are available to all of us, right? Through a very simple UI interface, through chatbot interface. You don't need to be a coder to access them. So first of all, we need to understand that, right? And I think all of us in the room, we are, everybody can see? Perfect? Okay. Okay, awesome. So first of all, I think everybody has used ChatGPT in this room, right? Or most of us, right? Or Microsoft Copilot. So can anybody say I had to be a Python or a JavaScript or a Java coder to access the ChatGPT? Everything is done by the model, right? And you need to understand, you need to talk to it, right? You need to understand how to talk to it. Now we are talking in a very simple language right now. The people who are advanced, they basically talk to these models in a way that they understand how these models respond. They are in sync with these models. This is something called prompt. So I will repeat prompt many times in my presentation. Reason being that prompt is an interface or is a communication mechanism with through which these models communicate. It's like, like I'm talking to you right now. Let's say that, this small gentleman is a model. So I'm just talking to him. I just need to understand what is the frequency he talks to me. What is the best way that I can get the right answer from him, right? So this is called NLP, natural language processing, right? So first of all, the first myth, I want everybody to understand that you don't have to be a coder. The second thing, how many think that to use Gen AI models is costly? What do you think? Is it costly? No, okay, that's correct. So the second myth is this, that Gen AI is expensive to use. But like, the top of the models right now, which is GPT-4 series, GPT 4.1, 4.5, they cost $0.1 for 1 million tokens. So tokens is something which is like I am speaking to you. When the models translate my communication or my message, they convert into something called tokens. So tokens is a word which our words are are converted to tokens, and each token is specifically, one token is specifically 3/4 of a word. So you can see that I am paying $0.1 for approximately asking the model 700,000 words, and I am spending $0.5 per million for per million output tokens, like getting a response. So you can see that within $1 how much you can communicate to these models, right? So myth number 2, the cost is not a factor over here. You all have the liberty to go immediately after this session, spin up resources in Azure, OpenAI or any or ChatGPT, take a paid subscription, and you will be charged about this point. You don't have to worry about the cost parameter. The other basically, so another question. What AI skills, or what skills do you think we need to use and to be familiar with these models? Anyone if can share some light on this point. Which AI skills we need? Is it a deep skill? Is it a high skill? Or what skills do we need? Communication. That's a good point. Communication. That's good. Anybody else? I think brother said it right. It's communication, and you can see that what is the myth that Gen AI needs deep AI knowledge. Up to a certain extent, this is correct, because the people who created these models and who are creating these models, they have to be deep into the technical skill. But these are small part of the whole population. Like if 10 people or 20 people or 100 people develop ChatGPT, billions of users are using it for their use cases. Using it it does not need a technical skill, and that's the example of ChatGPT. Or there is something called Microsoft Copilot. Has anybody used it in their organization? Okay, some people have used. Whoever has Microsoft, they would. So Microsoft Copilot is what? At the back end, they have a large language model which is basically giving the answers. So even the users, the users in the organization, they are using those models, copilots in Microsoft Word, in Excel, to even create Excel sheets or summarize Word documents or to the. So what I'm trying to say that it does not need deep technical skills, and yet you can be very productive if you shake hands with the AI and start asking them the questions and try to bring them as a part of your job profile. You have to be creative. You have to step further, but today you can start using it because of all of these facilities which we have outside. The other thing, which is basically the myth, that Gen AI can only be used for complex applications. This is wrong. Why it is wrong? Because simple things like generating text, like creating images or arts, or creating any content, brainstorming ideas, right? ChatGPT. I have a project, XYZ. My budget is $100,000. The technologies which my company wants to use is A, B, C, and D. Can you please suggest what is the best alternative of these technologies? I need to brainstorm with you. Does it take any skill right now? Which I said, this is a prompt. I'm asking my models. It doesn't need it. But just imagine how productive you can be. This is how smart people are basically interacting with these models, and the productivity. And it can go to any level. For example, if you are in coding, or let's say some of us are in basically use case development, or some of us are in data analysis, for example. Let's say you have a data sheet of, let's say, 110 pages, and you want to put it in a prompt and say, okay, give me some insights from this document. The ChatGPT will give you the time you will spend 10 or 12 hours worth of efforts and still missing those 10 or 20 pages or 100 pages summary. ChatGPT will give you in terms of minutes, right? So what I'm trying to say, that these are here to complement your jobs. These are not here to take your jobs, but it's a thought pattern. We have to change it, right? We have to think accordingly, right? So this is basically the myth which I wanted to clarify. So are we clear on that? Anybody has doubt on these myths and the facts? Anyone, any discussion point which anyone wants to raise? Happy to clarify that or discuss it. Are we okay with this? Do we understand these are myths, not facts? Awesome. Okay, now I will discuss something, artificial intelligence, right? So we say that it is 2000, 2015 and 16 and 17, all these discussions came and we started doing it, but this is not true. Actually, in 1956, there was a conference, Dartmouth conference, where this paper was presented that the machines can think like humans. That was the first time this whole concept got generated. So it's not new. People have been thinking about it. People have been thinking to use the machines to act and think and forecast like humans. Then round about in 1997, machine learning came. So machine learning is actually what, right? So let's say these are the models. This is a capability where models can basically predict something on your data. Let's say one of us are working in banking domain, right? And in banking domain, a person comes to apply for a loan. So these models are something like that. They are given a huge portfolio of customers who have been approved the loans, and one subset of individuals who have been denied the loans, right? And there are so many reasons in the denial of the loan and the approval of the loan, right? Education, salary, no delinquency in the last 10 months or a year, things like that. So what machine learning did, that they started learning these relationships. And they were able to create a model that if I as a new customer went to them to apply for a loan, because model has learned from thousands of customers, it is able to now predict that I am qualified for a loan or not. If I am not, what are the risk factors? So these risk factors he has learned from those all 100,000 customers on which it has been trained. Training is like this, that if you give me a book right now and start reading it and start memorizing the concepts. So if you take the book away from me and ask me, okay, the concept of any concept, and they ask me, what do you think about it? I can recall the book which I have read, those thousands pages, I can start answering you. But these were limited to the data set which was given to them. So if you ask a model who is trained on loan approval, it cannot basically predict anything which is outside scope. So they worked, but they were in limited scope, right? So I'm just bringing to generative AI that how generative AI is different from machine learning, right? So data set, it's called supervised learning. The model knows what you have taught him. Model cannot create new knowledge, new wisdom. The difference between knowledge, what is the difference between knowledge and wisdom? Anyone? Yeah.
Knowledge is things that you know, and wisdom, I think, is like advice, something like that.
Amazing. That's awesome. Knowledge is the information you have, and wisdom is how you connect these dots and create an output. Many people have knowledge but not wisdom, but wisdom is must to use the knowledge, right? So this machine learning was at the type they had knowledge, but knowledge on what it has been taught. It cannot think outside the box. Then the concept of deep learning came. So what happened in that a concept of neurons came. You know, our mind works on neurons. Neurons communicate to each other. So they started designing the models which think and work like our brain, neurons, right? And they created big models, and that was the type of the thing. Now in 2022, generative AI came. Generative AI is basically that. Now what is the difference? Now this is the difference between knowledge and wisdom. Up to deep learning, knowledge, but they were not able to connect the dots and start creating new outputs. This is where it all changed. They brought wisdom into the, so, and that's why you ask the GPT, chat GPT, any question, even it has not seen that question, it will be able to generate the answer. This is where the generative capability came into effect, joining the dots and getting it over. So this is where the whole generative thing came into focus, and then we started with small GPT-3 model, and then in 2023, when GPT-3 came, it was like we asked a question and it answered, right? What is the capital of France? If I have this thing, so the GPT-4, it came with a multi-model. What is multi-model? That it started understanding not only our language but also images. I can take the picture of this room and ask GPT that what you can tell about this room, and GPT will explain me. I can see a camera, I can see a presentation, I can see a presenter, I can see audiences, and I can also see, okay, tell me any audience which is speaking, let's say, yellow shirt or something. So it can start interacting with you even with the real world images, right? And there are so many use cases, people are designing systems around that. And then going forward, now what is happening right now, as we are speaking, there is a new concept which is released which are called reasoning models, right? So what is the difference between reasoning models and the chat GPT models? These models reason like us, like you do. You ask me a question, I say, no, you're wrong. This should be like this. Then you give me an answer, I say, no, no, this is not right. This should be like this, these should be the steps. Then it will say, no, I have made an error on step 4. I think I should go and correct myself. So they are reasoning, they are thinking like humans, and they are better than us in thinking mechanism and some sort of, getting into that context. And this other part which is happening is the speech models. So we started with text prompts, then we said, going forward, they started understanding image, text plus image, and now they're understanding our language. There are so many models which got released in real use cases where now field engineers are talking to the models, and the models are listening to them. They are interacting and doing all the changes to the system. So you don't need to type actually. Just talk to them. And the good thing is this model is not trained in any language, Spanish, German, whatever you talk to him, it will answer you. You don't need specific language or something. So next generation is more going towards you will talk to machines rather than typing, and this is coming very fast, right? So all of the applications, they are going to be like that. So when we say Gen AI, I want to understand what is that. So we understood like machine learning, limited scope, generative AI models, big scope, they understand everything there, but how do they do it, right? What is happening? So what happens, these models are trained on vast amount of data. And what is the data? Whole internet, whole Wikipedia, whole medical books, grade 11 books, grade 12, grade 10, medical, legal, talk anything actually. All of those things have been fed into these models, which came from multiple, basically, resources. Then there is something, these models were trained. And what we got a foundation model. So foundation model is the base of generative AI. Foundation model means a huge model which can do anything, which can talk to you, which can summarize, which can create content, which can search for you, but it needs a lot of data. And after that, what happened? These foundations model were able to auto questioning and answer. You ask him a question, it will give you an answer, and it will ask a follow-up question also, like we do, right? And then basically sentiment analysis. So these are few of the use cases which are right now happening in all over the world in terms of system implementations. And what industries are using it? High tech, robotics, right? High tech industries like all the software development, big time. Advertising and marketing, right? So big part of advertising marketing is taken up. Finance and banking, and media entertainment, right? So these are few industries, but all of these. So I have a question, guys. Like, do we have customer support in every organization? Customer support. So then, if you have customer support in every organization, do you think that auto question and answering will be applicable? Because the chatbot will talk to you, give me the product A. I don't want to. I don't want to buy product A. I want to buy product B. Then model will say it will ask me, give me a comparison of model A versus model B. So all of these auto question and answering, customer service is one of the major impacted, and also technical skills also. And then in the offices, everyone will have an AI agent to complement. See, not to replace. Please try to understand, this is not replacement, it's a complement. And you have to have this mentality going back from this room. AI is not competing with you, AI is complementing you. You need to be part of that boat. You don't need to, think that either me or that boat, right? So this is what we need to understand, because whether you like it or not, you will have an AI agent next sitting to you. either you're developing a product or you're using a product or you're doing anything, any industry, you will have to interact with the AI agent. So, but you need to be part of it, right? And the things is like, you know, in Microsoft Copilot, ChatGPT, and so many applications are there which are using, which now we are using it, but we need to use them. Now, what are the model types and capabilities which I already discussed? Input, text and image, right? What is in this image, right? So what I did before coming to this, I just tried a prompt, and we'll show that towards the end of the session. I said, this is a prompt, tell me what it is. So it said the image promotes Microsoft Azure AI friendly. So I don't know how come it knew that this picture is about a promotion of a service. So it somehow knew about it, because I just grabbed the picture and I just pasted it over here. But it knew, and then it said to me that, and I summarized it, by the way. I asked the model to generate it gave me like full page, right? I said summarize in 3 lines. So it summarized me in 3 lines. But if I show you the full description, and we'll see that, you can see basically. And then, so these are the GPT-4o, 4.1, 4.5. So when you hear multi-model, please understand these are the models which can accept image and text. Then the other part which came was the models which can create images. So what lot of, you know, the marketing, the designing part, so lot of designers are now taking using these models actually. So the AI generated content, it's happening everywhere. So like for example, I just gave it a prompt, a cat driving a heavy bike, right? So no, I know some of you may be driving a heavy bike. So nothing for you guys, but just, you know, wanted to show you. So I mean, this is, you can ask it any question. You know, you can ask it so funny prompts and it will generate the images for you, right? It can generate all the marketing content and everything in just few prompts, right? So, and then the other is voice bots, right? What I discussed right now. So now many of the implementations which are happening, the models are now accepting our voice and starting to communicate with us. And we'll see it in a short time. And the other part, the last ones are the basically reasoning task. These are the O series models by Azure OpenAI. So what they do, this is very interesting. You know, when we have a maths problem, we make a you know, map in our mind that how we will solve this problem, right? We'll start from step A, we'll go to step 5, then step 3 may be incorrect, right? When the answer came, we will check our answer, we'll go back and say, no, I think I did a mistake in step 3, I have to come back. So this is called chain of thoughts. And these models do these reasonings basically. They are not eager to solve the problem. Like in ChatGPT, you say, I have a mathematical problem, let's say 2 plus 2 is 4, and if I divide by 4, what will happen? The ChatGPT and other models, they will try to answer you quickly, very quickly, without thinking, right? And sometimes you have seen that the models may hallucinate. Hallucinate is they give a wrong answer. But these models, prior to giving you the answer, they do a rethinking mechanism, a very complex rethinking mechanism, like a very, PhD or a doctor will do in basically doing the analysis. So these reasoning models are becoming more and more this. So I will just pause here just to, before going to the next slides, to take any questions. Anyone? So these, so what happens? This is a good question. What happens that all the major cloud providers like Azure, Google, or they normally have some credits when you basically create an account with them. Like Azure gives you a credit of, I think it's a certain amount, but it's a good amount basically. You can right now go create a free subscription in any of the cloud providers which you like, and then you can start playing with these models, right? Or if you have to buy a subscription, then that's what I told you, $0.1 per 1 million tokens, like $0.1 per 700,000 words. So even in $10, you will be able to try so many prompts basically, right? So even the paid models are, so please, yeah.
My question is, where does CNN, convolution neural networks, fit all of, like into all of this?
Okay, CNN is basically part of these models. So what happened, the foundation model which I showed you, that has all of these technologies built in now. So what CNNs used to do, you can basically give a scanned image and they used to tell you that, okay, what is in this image, and or if you have a PDF file, like a PDF or a Word scanned file, they can go into it and read it. So all of these technologies are basically part of it. So brother, I was able to answer your question? Okay, this is fine. Okay, I saw another hand. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, please.
What's the difference between the different like things like ChatGPT 4.0, the Dolly, like the GPT 4.0, and like the O series?
Okay, so the difference is basically the way they accept the inputs from us, like how you communicate to them. So if you start from the left, they are text and image. Like you can basically type a text in that, or you can upload an image to that model and asking question about that image. If you go to the right, DALL-E and GPT-2, these are purely image and pictures creation models. You give them a prompt and they will create a art for you, a picture for you, you know. If you go to the right, these are voice models. They only communicate through voice. You talk to, like I'm talking to you, you talk to them. They will answer you like I'm answering you.
And what AI model is like this? The last one.
Yeah, the last one is you can take these reasoning models, like these are all basically quick models. You ask them a question, they start giving you the response. In the ChatGPT or in a Microsoft Copilot or any model, you ask a question, it starts, you see as soon as you hit enter, they start printing the tokens, right? The answer starts coming. These models take some time and they basically do reasoning. So they are basically for highly complex problems.
How do we look up? What are the name for the reasoning tasks?
These are O series models, like O1, O3, O4. So these models.
Like 4.0.
GPT-4. So GPT-4o is a different series, and O only starting with O is a different series in Azure OpenAI. Yeah.
Now you say that AI is going to challenge the human mind for the coding part.
Right.
Which part is really threatening for us right now?
The coding part, actually, sister, if you give me if you give me 1 minute, in the next slide I have the answer for you with some statistics also, right? But I will keep that in mind. Just give me 1 or 2 slides, the answer will come. And this is a very good question, because it is impacting a lot of our younger generation, the developers who are coming out of bachelors and masters. So I will just basically yeah. Yeah, I will repeat the question, definitely. I will keep that in mind. So we always say chat GPT. Anybody understand what is GPT? I mean, we are talking it every day, right?
G is like generative chat.
You're partially, yes, definitely. So GPT, right? Everybody's talking about this chat GPT, you know, and everything. Okay. Let's go with the G.
Generative predictive transform.
Yeah, that's awesome. So G is generative. Generative is the ability to predict the next one. Okay, we have to understand one thing. These models, when you ask them a question, they create token by token. You know, token is like a word. So what they do, as soon as you ask a question, it takes the question, analyzes the question, and then it starts generating the output. While generating the output, it also sees the question and compares the output to the question and makes sure that the answer is relevant. This is the generative capability. For example, if you see, this is a real example. The dog sleeps in the dog. So if you see, it is word by word predicting, right? And how he knows this, by the way? Another question. How he knows to do it in this way? Anyone? Yeah. Yes. Because it has seen so much internet and it has seen so much dog sentences, it knows that what dog does in the real life. All it needs is the context from the question, right? And then it will start generating the answer, because it has seen so many things on the internet where people have asked about dogs, people have asked about pets, and it understands that what this is about, right? So this is called generative capability. And this is why when you ask ChatGPT any question, it starts answering you, because it has seen all of those data elements on the internet or through the Wikipedia and whatnot. This is important. P, it's pre-training, right? So what happens in that? So in that case, what we do, all of that internet, Wikipedia, books, basically all of that, the model is trained on it. The model understands what that is. And the model understands the context, not the words. This is very important to understand. We people in this world communicate by context, not by keyword. For us to make a decision, context is important. I have an axe in my hand to cut a tree in the forest. I have an axe in my hand to harm someone in the forest. Axe is the word, but why humans are different from machines? Because first one is positive and the other one is negative. Both are using axe. This is how these models understand. This is how they are able to communicate to us at our frequency. They understand the context, and all they have understood. Yes, please. Sorry. Okay. So, and the other thing is this. Now, up to the first part is about the knowledge. This is knowledge. They know that, okay, X does this, but now we have to add something more on the top of it. And this is where ChatGPT was born. This is where Microsoft Copilot was born. These are called instructions. Yeah, please.
So when they use when a GPT model uses Wikipedia for the source, is it truly reliable? Because people can always edit Wikipedia. Would they fact check the information that they get from Wikipedia?
Oh, awesome! This is a great question.
Or is it just a hallucination when they get it wrong?
This is a great question, basically. That if the models basically they have learned internet, everything is not right. Yeah, I will come back to you. Just let me answer the brother
Just
basically.
a comment on
Yeah,
that.
please.
That's the exact reason why my school blocked Wikipedia.
Oh, this is the exact reason why their kid's school blocked Wikipedia. Definitely. I mean, this is a fact. This is a great question. Yes, please.
It's not really a question, but he makes AI videos
Okay,
on
okay,
his
okay,
YouTube
no.
channel.
Yeah, I know. I have seen his videos actually. So, answering the question, yes, the internet does not have the correct data. So, what happens in that case? During the training phase, there is another QA phase, quality assurance phase, evaluation phase, where they check the the quality of that, and that happens basically during the first step as well as during the second step. So, ChatGPT, when you communicate, it starts. What is the step 2? Step 2 is telling the model how you have to follow the instructions, how you have to follow like me, right? Like I am talking to through you brothers. So how to answer it, how to ask the next question, how to ask a follow-up question, how to recommend that. Okay, you are talking about this. Let me suggest you this also. This is also a good source of information. This is called instructional training, and this is where the wisdom is created. This is where the ChatGPT and products like this come into the world, basically, right? So this is the wisdom which is added, and this is how it is done. So the answering question that normally organizations have a very strict evaluation and quality assurance step during the model, where their QA teams ask the models some questions which are ethically wrong, and they make sure the model do not respond to it, right? But remember, no matter how best the model is still using lot of data, and there are chances that model may hallucinate, and that's why hallucination, you will see this term hallucination, where model basically gives you a wrong answer or an unrelated answer, right? So this is called hallucination. So what is T? Yeah, brothers, he's already told it. It's a transformer. So transformer is nothing, it's an architecture. Transformer is nothing, it's an architecture basically which makes sure that tokens which enter into the, questions which enter into the model, and the answers which come out, they make sense. They are relevant, they are fluent, they are grammatically correct, they are answering the questions the way it's for. So this is called GPT, right? So these three things together bring up the whole concept of the GPT word, right? So I will pause here to take any question. Yeah.
How generative AI is different from bots?
From
Bots.
bots. Okay, that's good question. So let me answer him, then I will come back. Your questions are very difficult, by the way.
Okay.
Okay, so chatbots basically, so how bots are different, rather ask how bots are different from that. So bots are basically the ones which are communicating to you, chatbots, and they talk to you like humans. You ask it a question, they ask a follow-up question. So they are created after the step 2. So you give that model lots of instructions, billions of instructions to learn from that communication mechanism. Hi, say how are you? Say I am fine. How can I help you? I'm just giving simple examples, but that can be very complicated, right? So, is it okay? Okay, yeah.
So there was something on the news recently where it was saying basically saying please and thank you to the chatbots are costing like GPTs millions of dollars, and I was wondering exactly why that happens. Is it because of tokens or what?
Oh, great question. One of the discussion, I think it was from the OpenAI CEO, right? Or somebody like that. He said that even asking the model questions, hi, or how are you, or thank you, is costing millions of dollars in that compute power. Because remember, when we generate tokens, it basically uses compute power. So there are huge machines running it. So yeah, this is correct, because every token which is generated, every token, the dog slips in the everything the chat GPT models create, that they need power, compute power. So that is absolutely correct. And because every word which a model produce is a cost, compute cost, hardware cost, right?
I have a question, like, how do we know, like, because we live in a world of conflict, right, where this information can be used against anybody. So how much is human involvement in the verification of the data, and or is it all like GPT is doing everything, verifying or all these things, right? I mean,
Right.
in the middle.
Right. So what happens right now, if you ask GPT anything, it will answer you. Like anything you ask basically about any subject, anything, whether it is, it will answer you. Now what organizations do when they deploy these models for their vertical use case, I would say, let's say we are from a banking industry, right? Or we are from a customer service industry. So they give some instructions. They give some instructions on the top of the model and say, I will give you a prompt example. You are a chatbot who deals only with customer services question. If anyone asks you about games, internet, or any other subject, please gracefully decline and say, I am only here to answer customer service related questions. So I'm just giving you a prompt which you give to the models. And then what happens? The model starts, this prompt will overrule all of the user communication. So anything model takes outside of this, that even if you're communicating to banks right now, and you can have an experience, go to a chatbot from a bank and start asking them, can you suggest me a good song? It will gracefully decline you. So this is called a subject which is called responsible AI, which is itself a huge subject, but this deals with that security and this. But the base models can do everything. When you take these models, implement into your organization, in your use case, you basically narrow the scope through these prompts. Only do this, don't do this. Then that chatbot will be only for solving your organization. Any other organization cannot benefit from it because it knows everything, but what you have done, you have put a sphere around it so that it cannot talk anything, right? I hope he answered your question. Your question is answered? Amazing. Okay, so this is basically, so this is about the reasoning that why these models are important. And I think, so first of all, sophisticated algorithm development, comprehensive problem solving, detailed document analysis, and focused instruction execution and workflow coordination. So, these models are doing amazing work in procurement and contracts and legal systems analysis, financial reporting, financial risks, thousands of pages of data with risk planning and I don't know what else. These models can go and and can do a better job, and no offense meant, but can do better job than a person who has 10 or 20 years of experience. Even the, it's not about it's not about the quality, it's about the it is about the speed. These models can generate, can see those 100 pages of documents and generate an answer for you in less than 3 minutes. If a very experienced analysis is there, human analyst, and he wants to review these documents, he will take days, and yet he may not be able to correctly configure the page number 1 content was related to page number 100 content. There is a hidden relationship, I need to optimize it. So that's why these models are making a lot of difference. We as human minds, see, our human minds are like this. You know, if there are more than 2 variables in our thought patterns, what happens? We get confused, right? You know, so 3 variables, different 3 things? No, 4, I will give a different answer. These models work with millions of those computations, right? So this is why these reasoning models are becoming more and more focused for complicated. So cases where there can be more than 3 or 4 outcomes of a decision, and each decision is very good. These models have the capability to tell you which decision you should take and why you should take this decision. In the short term, what will be the impact in the short term, and what will be the impact in the long term, right? So this is a new thing which has started, and it's, in my opinion, these are very strong models basically, and used for complicated use cases. But remember, please, I just said in the beginning, if I'm answering a question, I'm not saying predict I don't want the answer to be quick. I want the answer to be correct. That's why these are used for specific use cases, legal, contract, legal cases, and you know, so I mean those type of documents, right? Medical diagnosis, medical, you know, things like that. Everybody must have heard that these models were able to diagnose cancer 3 years before it was about to develop. Because they have seen so much data, they have seen the data of people with cancer and people without cancer, and they have seen all these stages also. So they were able to even diagnose those things which we are not able to do, as a human cannot do that. Okay, now AI agent role. We should all must work with them. So you know agents, have we heard, all of us have heard about agents? Yeah. So agent is like us, like me, yeah? It has memory, it has tools, it can discuss, it can search for you, it can respond to you, but it's in machine. Agent is a character, is a persona who can do things basically for you, right? So agent is nothing but a program or a instruction which is working on the top of these strong models. Am I making sense? So if you say agent and models are separate, no. Agents are built on the top of the Gen AI models, like GPT-4o. There can be one agent which is, so agent is what, like we discussed, like Sodhai has asked a question that model can do anything, right? It knows everything. What agents do, they ask the model to be specific and be an expert in one thing, not all. That's why I said it can be a customer services AI agent. So customer services AI agent, and you know, we work with these agents in our daily life, but we do not, you know, because these communications are so perfect, we are not able to distinguish the person who is answering me on the other side, whether it's a machine or a human, because the natural language they have you know become so much expert in that. So what they do basically, you know, automation of routine interactions, enabling agents to focus on. So you see that the agents which were basically first busy in answering the questions, agents are basically helping that. But if a complex problem, if an analysis is required which needs a domain knowledge, there the humans can come in and can start working. So this is not replacing, this is complementing each other, right? Please remember that we as humans are not competing, we are complementing, but we need to develop ourselves, we need to change our skills, upgrade our skills, right? For example, the finance AI agents, software development AI agents. So sister asked the question about the software development, right? So I will show you a quote from Satya, our Microsoft CEO. he said in one of the sessions that in Microsoft 30% of the code is developed by AI, right? And this is today, right? Or maybe 10 days back, maybe now it's 35%. It's getting so much. So 30% of the code in Microsoft is created by AI, and Microsoft has complicated and one of the most mature systems in the world, right? So this is where we are going, and this is all software development. Now the question would be then developers, what we should do? Developers should learn to coexist with these models. They should start taking help, take some pseudocode, the code which is mature up to a certain extent, and start taking it and refining it. So if developer was spending 20 hours or 40 hours, let the first 18 hours be taken care by model, and the 2 hours where you can add the real value, spend that time. And the end product will be more mature, more solid, and more error-free, because the developer is now is focusing on quality assurance part rather than developing part. So this is how these models are changing and this is applicable in every domain. The first few steps, the first 60-40% of the steps of any process, you can generate a very decent scope of work from these models, and then you as brains, you can go and start refining those, right? So this is why the software development is getting a lot of momentum. So when somebody asks me, the new people who are getting education and passing out, what we can do? So my only thing is this: they need to start working with these models. They need to start in their education. They need to know how to use these models, how to get benefit, because the mindset which they will develop, basically they will, and then they will go to a mature level also. Rather than using it, they may come into a design part. And I will show you in one of the slides that how we can progress to that role doing that, right? So by the way, the data analysis AI agents, right? We know data analysts is a very key role in all the organization. They look at the data, they see how the data is behaving. This all is taken care by a larger extent by the models. Now the models, you can give a big Excel file or a Word document, and you started to do an analysis, whether it's a risk document, whether it's a sentiment document or whatever. Within seconds or minutes, they will be able to give you the output of that, right, document. But here the thing starts, right? When they give you an output, you can add more value to it, right? So your time as an analyst now is spent more in basically doing more quality work than before, right? Because if you have a good foundation of an analysis, then you will create more value on the top of it, right? Because and then this is a value chain where models are helping humans, AI agents are helping humans to become more productive, right? So this is how we need to take it. We don't need to take, if an agent came, human will not be needed, humans will be needed. Because like some of the brothers said, the models can hallucinate. They can still produce a wrong answer. So we need a man in the middle or a human reviewer who can basically, who understands why model created it, what prompt I entered, what is the mistake I did. That's why prompt engineering and prompt fine tuning is a big part of the job roles which are coming up. It's like talking to the machines and telling them, or in a very focused way, the way they understand, right? So these are few of the branches. I will just pause here to take any question on these. Yeah.
Able to suggest some resources to access those agents?
Yes, brother. I have one slide on this, so we will go over it. Definitely. That's a good question. So brother question is that, are there any resources where we can prepare ourselves for this transformation? So I have a slide basically to go over those roles and what we can do. Awesome. Any other question? Yes. Sorry. Yeah.
So how do you train them on new data? Do you just drop it in? Like for example, I have like a spreadsheet or data. Do I just drop it into the mop and then absorb it and then it will generate a report from it?
Okay. The broader question is that if he has an Excel sheet and he wants to train that model on it, how do? So when I said foundation model, what was the message? Anybody can repeat? Foundation model, what was the message? Because the answer in that. So let me go back. This is a good question, brother. And this I wanted to make sure that this is this we know, because this is very important. This is the very basic of that. Okay, what we said in the foundation model. These models have been trained on everything, anything, have seen thousands, billions of Excel sheets, have seen billions of Word documents, have seen billions of PowerPoints, have seen billions of financial reportings, have seen billions of customer and agents, support agents interactions, have seen billions of computer logs, and now they understand what I need to do. They have been trained once, and that's why GPT-4 is so costly. ChatGPT is so costly. Me and you, we cannot develop it. We need to have millions of dollars and lots of machines to train all of these models. So the message is, smart people have already done the hard work. You will not need to retrain these models. In 95% of the cases, you take these foundation model with the instructions like a ChatGPT or Microsoft Copilot and many others, and then you just say, this is my data and do this thing with my data. That's it. I have an Excel sheet. Can you please tell me what are the top performing customers in this? You have to ask just this question, nothing else. You don't need to tell this is an Excel file, this is a data, the column number 1 is customer name, column number 2 is education, column number 3 is salary. No, you don't need to. You need to say to the model, you are provided an Excel sheet, can you please analyze it and can you please meet top performing or top salary customers or top risk customers. Rest of the thing will be taken care by the model. So this is why they are called generative. You give them any content and they can generate the answer on the top of it. And that's why this is the reason, because a lot of work has been done by Microsoft and companies like that to create these powerful models. And the context is, you, me and I can use them, can upload our data and files and start asking the questions to them. Right? Did I answer your question, brother? Sorry, brother. Yes, please.
So what is agentive AI?
Agent?
Agentive AI.
Agentic AI. Okay, now let's say before I came to this meeting, I was in my home, right? I was doing some office work, right? Doing some work or preparing for some meeting. So my persona was, I was not in this meeting. I was not talking, I was not prepared to talk on this subject. Although all the knowledge was there, I knew what to do, but this is a structured way. When I entered this door, I took off my hat from what I brought from home. I wore a new hat, which is, I need to be a presenter over here. I told myself, now for this 2-hour session, you need to just talk about AI. You don't need to talk about I like Nihari or anything else, right? Or anything else. This is out of my mind. So what agentic AI does, that agentic AI, they apply personas on the top of these powerful models. And these models, you tell these models, you are a customer service agent. You need to be very polite with the questions. User will come to you and ask the questions about products. You need to be polite. You can use sheet 1, sheet 2, sheet 3 to answer the questions, but do not talk about anything else, because your domain is only customer service. I am a customer service agent now. This is called agentic AI. Same Safdar, outside, generalized, talking to everyone about every subject. Enter the room. I have been said that these 2 hours I need to focus, forget everything else. These how these agents are created, by those instructions. You know everything, but please do not tell the people everything. You are here for a purpose. These are called prompts, where a persona is assigned to these models and then started. And you know one thing very strange, these models have been proven that if you talk to them in a tone, the tone impacts them. If you say that create me a resume with these qualities and I am graduate, I have done 5 experience and create me a resume, it will create a good resume. Now if you say to this model, I lost my job, I have kids and I need to be on the job, this is very important for me, the quality of the output increases actually. They know how to do empathy. They know the tone and they need to be very helpful like we do in humans' life, right? So this is, the agentic AI utilizes this capability of the model and assigns it to a particular persona. They do not create a new model. The model will always be GPT-4o, the same model. You go to a medical facility, they are using it for medical questions. You go to a customer service, they are using for customer service. You go to a financial industry, they are using it for all things where they do some prompt engineering and they tell the model, these, you are here for this purpose, just do this, don't do anything else, and do this in this way. This is called agentic AI. But they are on the top of these, the foundation is still these Gen AI models like GPT-4o, which we discussed in our slides, reasoning models and whatnot. Everybody clear on agentic AI now? What is agentic AI? Okay, that's good. This is a good context. Now let me go back where we left. Okay, now one of the brothers asked about the roles, right? What roles we can do and how we can basically enhance. So, and see, this list is not complete. This is what I thought. You know, this can evolve, but this is what I thought based on my work which I have done. So, you know, but I think this will be a good base for all of us. The first set of users are end users, which are business users, like you know, directors, CXOs, CTOs, you know, any persons who are dealing with files or things. So they are end users. They are business users. They are not technical users. They are strictly the users of these models. Like, you know, I'm just saying it again and again. The M365 Copilot, the Word Copilot, Excel Copilot, which works with them. So for these users, you just need to have an access to the available technologies, right? Have an access to them, which I will share the resources. Learn to talk to them with prompts, right? Again, prompts. Learn to talk to them with prompts. You are an AI agent for customer service. Answer the question politely. If someone asks you about product A, ask them a follow-up question. Did you also consider product B, which many customers have bought together? So that sort of instructions. These are all prompts. These are all prompts. So please, prompts. Everybody has to understand how to write effective prompts. The more effective prompts you will write, the more differentiated, the more you know, productive output you will get from these models. They have a lot of knowledge. Learn to take out the knowledge from them. These are called prompts, right? So these are the business users who are like interacting with them. Microsoft Copilot, Bing, ChatGPT, Azure OpenAI. So many like these things which are available, and then you can basically start using them. Then there are engineers. They can be low level or a deep level technical resources. What they do? They basically go a level up. They know how these systems work. So one brother asked me a question. I have a file, I have a document. I need to upload it into the ChatGPT and start asking the question. This is something which I would consider that they are now using a model to a next level. They are not just inputting the prompt, they are uploading their data and they are asking the questions on their own data. These are the users who understand how these models work. A little more depth just from asking the questions. Now what those can be for some of the future roles: architects, Gen AI, data engineers, data scientists, and so many roles. So how we can do that? You have to target any provider, right? So please remember one message I want to give you, that if you drive a car, right? You drive a car. Now if you have the license to drive a car, the car can change. It can be SUV, it can be a minivan, it can be anything. But once you learn, you can drive any car, right? Nobody will say you that you cannot, right? Because the gear and everything is same. So the good news for all of us is this, that these models operate, the basic context, the concepts are same. They all communicate through prompts. Prompt best practices of one set of models is applicable to all the other models with a very slight difference. So the message is, if you learn to drive, you are good to drive anything. It's not about this one. So it's very important that you target one provider, any provider. You choose any provider, create a subscription there, or buy some credits of $25, $20, $30, and try to you know, familiarize yourself with those systems and models, right? And then there are free and paid subscriptions which I can like Microsoft Azure. Microsoft Azure has a free subscription. I think when you create a Microsoft Azure account, they give you $200 worth of thing to try different things basically. So every provider has a free tier, and then you can go to the pay tier. So the immediate ask over here is this, that you need to start basically enroll them in them, spend 5 minutes, 6 minutes. I'm of the opinion, if you spend 5 minutes on a task daily for 90 days, you will be better than the person who has spent 24 hours in 3 days. And because consistency is the key over here. It's not the volume, it's the consistency, right? 5 or 10 minutes, not more than that. And trust me, after 90 days, you will be talking maybe, in depth on these subjects. So, like RAG and any cloud provider like Microsoft. I don't know. I didn't write Sing actually. I forgot what I wrote. I think it's a RAG is so RAG. I will discuss what is RAG, right? So keep in mind the RAG basically concept, and then product development, which is like deep technical. Like these are the people who have created these models, right? The transformer architectures, the training of these models. So they have done those data analysis, data fine tuning, and all that stuff. These are deep technical people, right? And they have to be very familiar with the Python, TensorFlow, PyTorch, and other frameworks. These are few of the frameworks which we use in model trainings, basically, right? So these are highly technical people in Microsoft, in other technologies who are basically. So these are people who create new Gen AI models, Gen AI creators, like chips creators, and the people like that. Now, what we can do? This is important. So let's start using these models in our daily work, right? So I have a question. In our daily work in school, in something, we are asked that, okay, can you look at this report or look at this document and see what you find related to topic A. Everybody takes this assignment in office, right? Can you take this and can you create an article or create an essay or create a draft for me about this technology? I mean, who doesn't do this in office? Can you create a PowerPoint for me? This is the topic. I want you to use the best topics in the world. Everybody does that, right? So start to use them in. It doesn't. Please don't think that I have to be like 5 years of experience or 1 year of experience. No, this is incorrect. If somebody has told you, I want you to step out of this room with this, myths and facts, right? I shared the facts with you. You have a big document from your office, and they ask you summarize it and see these decision points. I want to extract these decision points from this document, and this document is 10 pages or 20 or 40 pages shape. It's an analysis, customer analysis, for example. Take this, put this in the model, ask the question, give the prompt, and say, can you please answer me this point about this document? You don't have to spend 2 hours or 1 hour or 50 or 60 minutes. 1 minute you will get the answer, and then you put your value inside that. So start using them. Please start using them from today. They are accessible, they are cheap, they are available. Start using them. If you will start using them, they will become a part of your daily activity. You can create an account after this in any of the Gen providers and start using it. So what will happen is that the good thing about these models is this: the documentation is so nicely written, because these cloud providers, they want users to use their technologies. They have made it so user friendly, and I can tell you with a lot of confidence in Microsoft, because we were the first ones who started this whole thing. So our documentation is very, very good. It targets audiences from a very basic level, and you can start using. So it's all about. I'm not telling you read it. Just go into that, create an account, and start exploring. Click on this icon, say what it does. Click on this icon, say what it does. Just try to understand those things, and because they will help you to create a complete picture in your mind, right? So, and then basically, learning prompt engineering is a great first step. I'm sorry, I'm repeating the prompt engineering again and again and again, but I know this is the first step. Even the people who are at the deep technical level, they start with the effective prompts. So when you interact with the model, the first thing what you do, you try to take your answers from the model with effective prompts, without doing any additional step, like in putting extra data, additional data. If the results are not there, then you start going to the deep technical level. So always prompt engineering. There are 3 good news basically, which I will emphasize on them. Gen AI models are the same. When you learn to drive a car, you can switch cars and still drive, right? So GPT, ChatGPT, Bing, Microsoft Copilot, they all work. The prompt basic, the way you ask and enter, they are the same. The cost to practice and use this model is very low. The top model has only 0.1 to 0.4 for 1 million tokens, which are basically a lot of words. Good news, we already know the myths and facts from our second slide. Do you agree on the third good news? Do we agree on the myths and facts? What were the myths? Anybody can tell me what were the myths? Any one myth, if anybody can repeat.
Costly.
Costly, yes sir. They were costly and we said it were not. Yeah.
You don't have to be a coding expert.
We don't have to be a coding expert or a skills which we need to do, right? So definitely, yeah.
You don't have to have deep AI knowledge.
Deep AI knowledge, don't need to have. So this is a good news for us, right? We're stepping out of the room. We all, yes.
This isn't any of the myths and facts because I wasn't here for that. But how many tokens are used about in a day?
Oh, wow. Now this is a very difficult question. The brother is asking, it's a very good question, that how many tokens are used in a day. So I will ask you, models like, you know, the people who are using these models on a daily basis, I think they may be having millions of customers who are using and asking these models. Millions users asking, let's say 100 or 200 or 400, 500 prompts. You can say million into 500, so I don't know, maybe billions of prompts daily. And you know, they are costly. They are large machines, GPUs. You know, GPUs are heavy machines which are hosting these models and getting the answers. So answer I don't know, but I know it is billions and trillions of tokens every day across the world. And it's going to, it's just the tip of the iceberg. This is going to explode in a very big way going forward in the next months, 2 months, 3 months, and 4 months. So I will just pause here. Any question on this slide? Yes.
So just adding on to that, if it were to be a billion words, it would have been $400 million.
Yeah, if that is the maths, maybe, yeah.
Wait, yeah.
Yeah, this is true. I mean, you can multiply it. This will be the case. Yes, please.
So ChatGPT itself is free.
Yes.
What is the next level up?
So what we do, that this is basically for generic. So what people do, they take these models, and like this brother said, that I have my own Excel file. So what happened? Free means up to a certain amount it is free. But if you exceed the tokens, the free tier, they call it a free tier, for example, right? Every provider, like Microsoft Azure, I told you $200, for example, they give you when you create an account. But once that free tier is passed, then you have to pay for it. And the second thing is this, that what is the next level? I will show you a diagram, basically, and this is a little bit technical, but you need to understand what is happening. Brother, then I will answer that question, right? So
how can we use that, right? Can you talk about like how can we develop or set up the AI agents?
Okay.
Or some sort of workflow where you grind the data and then
Okay.
For example, content creation or something.
Okay.
This is one side. The second side is our brother said, if you upload some data, right, Excel sheet, how do you assure, is it shared everywhere?
Okay.
I don't want, safety and security of
Right.
my data.
Right. So the brother asked 2 questions. That the first question is that the other question was that how, when we upload our data, how do we make sure that it is secure? And the first question is that how do we do agents? What do we do with whole of the system? How we develop it, right? So first thing we need to understand, let it be agent or anything, the one building block in the whole ecosystem are these Gen AI models. Agreed? Everybody agreed? Because the AI agents need the intelligence, so they are using these models, right? The first thing. Now the second thing is this: in an AI agentic workflow, normally organizations attach their data with the agent. So they want to use the generative capability of these models, but they do not want to use that generative capability on what the model has learned or model has seen. They want that generative capability to be only focused on the data which you have provided. So in that case, we basically, this is also done through prompt engineering. So in a question, you always give a context to the model. Answer this question, and while answering the question, please keep this context. Do not answer the question outside this context. Now, brother, that context be your Excel file which you uploaded, that context be a Word document or a workflow automation guide. This context can be anything which you have in your file. So you are basically limiting, you are not creating a new model, you are just telling the model use your generative AI capabilities, but on this Word document only. So what it will do, it will apply all that skills and knowledge on this document and create new content for you. So there are systems for this which are called RAG, retrieval augmented generation. I will just touch it, but this is a part of the system design. You know, the level 2 which I was saying, they can design the system. And the good thing and the good news is this, even those designers, they don't have to code much, because these systems are already built, they exist. All you need to understand is this, how you bring them together and can join them together. So it's like you know, a car assembly, right? So engine is there, you know, the other things are there. You just need to make sure how you put that, and then, you know, put the bolts and make it a car. So it's a sort of more an assembly type of thing rather than a creation. Because remember, we agreed creators are only those who have created those models to start with. After that, all the tiers, the middle two tiers are the users. One is a business user, the middle tier is the advanced user who knows how to use these building blocks and bring them together and generate a system. And I will show you in the slide. Yes, sir.
So with this model, you know, like you have to be open also, right? You know, like you have to be giving our data for the, you know, like AI to visualize and learn, you know, like, because every opportunity AI gets is a learning tool for it.
Yes.
Say for example, I'm giving a secured data which is very private to me, from private to my organization. I expose it to AI. AI learns something from that also, right?
So brother asked a question that if I give my data to these models, do the models learn from them? So what happens, this is a very interesting topic, and this comes about on data governance, risk and compliance, right? So what these providers tell you in that case, they say that if you give your data to the model, we are not seeing your data. We are just processing it. Once the model processes it and gives you the response, we are not keeping a copy of it. Model is not, see, model has already learned. Model has been trained. Now model is using its generative capability to give you answers on your data, but it is not learning. The learning has stopped. So if you see, this is a very interesting point. If you go to GPT-4o or ChatGPT or anything, they will have a disclaimer. This model has seen data till March 1, 2025. So there was a very interesting question when the elections happened and they went to an old model and they asked the question, who is the president of US? So they did not give the latest data because the model has been trained and put into production on, let's say, the day after that event happened. So models do not have the latest data, they have a cutoff date, which you have seen, and this is a very sensitive topic. So, and the organizations, the hyperscaler, they make sure, they say to you that we never see your data, we never utilize your data, because this is a big problem or issue for security, risk and compliance personnel. So the data remains in the cloud provider till the processing happens and the response is created. Then it is not stored anywhere.
Does it get trained?
No, it does not. It does not. If you specifically want to give data for the training, then they have to retrain the model and your data will be part of it. But this will be a complete new step, a new version of a model will be released. Model does not learn. Model has learned once. See, this is very important to understand. Model has learned once and it is using that cutoff date as a learning. So if I did my graduation in 2021, this is the date I learned my course. After that, if a new topic came, I don't know, because I have stopped reading bachelor's course. I am out of it. I don't read new books. I don't go to the college because I have passed out from here. I am not learning. So these models do not learn after that. That's why new versions are released. That's why you say GPT-4, 4.1, 4.5.
Yeah, so is it like making a model to learn or to get trained? Is it a one-time action or is it a progressive action?
So brother asks, is training a model a one-time action or is a progressive action? So it's both. Why? I will tell you why. One time, when the new model version, it's called versions. GPT 3.5, one version. new data came. Technology advanced. They released GPT-4. Technology advanced again. GPT-4o. Technology again started, they have to retrain. New version, GPT 4.1. Recently GPT 4.5. Maybe in the near future GPT 5 also, I don't know. So, but what happened, if they want to include new training, they have to retrain and release a new product in the market.
So, like I'm a little bit confused.
Yeah.
Like when you answered, when I give a personal data, private data, your model gets, like only it looks into the data. It doesn't acquire any knowledge from it.
Absolutely.
If it is doing progressive and like one time, what is the progressive there? Because it has learned something from my data also, right? Which has stored somewhere.
Okay, let me brother give you an example. Let's say I did my bachelor's in medicine. I studied bachelor's in medicine, and I did I graduated in 2000. Now in 2000, the cancer research was very, it was very in the earlier stages. So now I have to read it again, actually, again and again. So unless I read it, I cannot say I have done this. But if you see, the graduation knowledge which I had is of 2000, right? If I have to gain the knowledge which came afterwards, or if I have to read the new books which are in medical colleges now in 2015, I may have to re-enter the college and again graduate. If I have to be graduated again, my knowledge can increase. My knowledge can increase by reading myself. But this is humans. These models, once they get trained, actually, they stop their learning. They stop their learning. You cannot teach them, because to teach them you need to again set up that whole $1 million infrastructure, heavy machines, give it again a complete data in a certain format, in a certain volume, and run those algorithms. Those algorithms will run for maybe 3 months, 4 months, and then they will again come up with it. So unless that step happens, the new version cannot be released, because these GPTs are very heavy. They have a lot of memory. They need big machines to train and this thing. So that's why, that is the reason, we see version 1 release, version 2 release, version 3 released. This is the whole context of this. Am I making sense now?
Yeah, to some extent, but
Okay.
I will talk to you later.
Okay.
I think it's related to.
Yeah, but just let me take the question. He was in the queue.
For example, let's say I'm a scientific writer,
Right.
So I'm using ChatGPT how to develop a content, maybe regulatory content or scientific content, right? And now I'm using that content to publish.
Right.
What about copyrights or any sort of lawsuit filing on me? Like, for example, plagiarism, right? When I'm publishing my research paper, like I cannot copy and paste.
Right.
So in this situation, these models, they are accessing entire scientific information.
Right.
What would you do in that?
This is a risk which exists. So normally what happens in that case, the providers, they basically provide some controls on the top of it. When you create those models, you create that content, you pass that content through those tools to get that information, whether the model has inherited any copyrighted material. So if you go to Azure OpenAI, they have a check, they have a control which basically looks at the content and looks for copyright content and things like that. But yes, your question is right, because it is taking data from internet. It's very difficult to understand whether it is a copyrighted content or a non-copyrighted content, right? So I will just come, brother, you are next.
So my question is that, I understand it's trained on the data, right? But where does RAG come into the picture?
Yeah.
When you do the RAG,
Right.
Whatever it uses, for example, it uses internet for RAG, right? Is it not getting trained on that?
Right. So brother, give me 2 minutes. I have a slide for this question. So brother, question is, if I cannot train the model, if I cannot tell the model the president of the United States is not what used to be in 2018 or 17, then how can I get the answer? So brother, question is that I will answer it through a slide, right? So yes, brother, you had a question?
So just going back to what the question was related to using the contents that's available. I've used it where I did a paper or something like that. It also gives you the links basically where it's fetching these data.
Correct.
So just like you're writing your paper for your class, you have to actually put it in index where you actually get that information from. If you do that
Absolutely. The brother had a very good point. Thank you so much. So when you ask the model, you can ask the model, please provide me citations. So what model will do, it will give you the citations, and then but problem even in that case is that it can even pick that material which user has prohibited to be shared actually. So, but definitely brother has a point. This citation, yeah, it's just like, let me go to this. Yeah.
So, as you listed like the good news over there of AI, I want to know what's like the bad news of AI. Like, what are the disbenefits of AI?
Too many, too many.
Too many.
What do you mean by too many?
Yeah, because see, always when the knowledge comes in human history, this is a good question. It has two parts, right? When the science came, it has did medical discoveries, but there were evil people who used it for different things, right? So it is the use of this knowledge, and definitely we have bad people in the world, we have good people in the world, right? So answering your question, yes, that knowledge is available, but the wisdom will be built is depending on the people who are using it. So I have 30 minutes. I need to go through the slides. Brother, I know I just will take one question. Brother, you had a question? Yeah, please. Yeah, that would be. Maybe I will cover it in the next slides, but I will come back to you if I have a minute. So when you're doing prompt engineering, just please keep that in mind. And this is a link. I will share that slide basically. So in Microsoft, there is a thing how to write effective prompts. So remember these 4 things when you're asking these models. What is the specific information you need? Be specific. First message is be specific. They know too much. They will hallucinate. They will give you multiple answers and you will not get the. So, and give the context. Like brother said, I want to give a file. Another brother said, I have a big document. Give the context through which you want the answers to be given. Expectations. What output you want? You want a bulleted point, you want a JSON format, you want any format like that. And what is the source? Like, do you have like this source is the same thing which brother said, that you want to use your enterprise data sources to answer that question. So tell the model, do not use your previous knowledge, use my data which I am giving you, right? So these are some of the basics of the prompt engineering, and this is an example of a prompt, right? So if you see, list and describe 5 historical events that have significantly influenced modern world. The event should span various regions, time periods, and that I'm very specific, by the way, for each event what I want the model to include, right? These 1, 2, 3, 4 things, right? And then I'm telling focus on clear and concise and whatnot. Then I'm telling the model what the output you should get. What is the output you should get? I'm giving even the output format, that in what context you need. So if you are working in your work and you have asked to write a report of some incidents or some research, then you have to give this format to them. You need to tell the model what is the output and input you want, and then give. These are called few shot examples, right? When kids are learning, when we are learning, when the teacher wanted to give us a concept, he gave us some examples, right? This is an example, this how it works, and we understood the concept very in a very depth with this example. The models work like that. If your ask is complicated, if you think you need a very specific behavior, give it examples of the output. Give it the examples and the model will follow the example. It will learn more from the example. This is called few shot learning. What is called in prompt engineering, it is called few shot or one shot learning or few shot learning, which means you give it examples, right? So these are some of the examples. Remember I told you models have the capability to get themselves in a particular role, and when you assign them a role, they become expert in that. All of a sudden they start, the quality of the answers that changes. So if you see, one of the prompt is, which I said in the beginning, you are a pirate chatbot who always responds in pirate. Can you see can you see the answer? I cannot even read it actually, but this is like pirate language, right? The other, you are a Shakespeare bot which talks and responds to the user. Can you see the answer? Same model. And brother, the agent question you asked, how agents are different? It's the same model. Can you see the behavior so different? Because the mind is same, you are just, how to use that in a different way through prompt engineering. So emphasizing again prompt and prompt, right? This gets more interesting. I am assigning it a role. I am also telling him your target audiences are junior grade students. See the answer. The same question, your target audience are PhD students. In your real work, this report is from my CTO, CEO, CFO, CIO. make it decision making process. They have to decide. You have to give them suggestion or decision making. Financial domain is very important for them. Return on investment is very important for them. ROIs. Business plans are very important for them. Investment plans are very important for them. So all that stuff, the model will change the output. This is for my colleague. He just wants to know how this is built. The same question, entirely different model, in different response. So these are some of the examples of, and remember, whenever you will work with these models, you will always hear two parts. One is a system message and one is a user message. System message is the guardrail. You know, it's like you are a chatbot service agent, only answer service related questions, service A related questions. This is done through system prompt. System prompt is what? That this is what you are in this deployment, you exist for this reason, only serve these questions. Forget your earlier knowledge. These are enforced through system message. System message is defined once, and whenever user interact with that chatbot, the system message always makes sure that if anybody goes out of scope, it denies gracefully and say no, you are not. I'm not allowed to enter it, to answer it. So system message and user message. When you interact with the ChatGPT or the Microsoft Copilot, you are an end user. But you can also implement system messages when you are implementing your own system to make it more specific. Okay, this is the question, brother. I said aapko aata hai maine? I said wait for the, yeah, okay. And this also aligns to your question also, that how we bring our data. Now this is very important. I want you to get out of this room with this context. If you understand this concept, you are already at a very advanced level. If you understand this concept, I promise, right? So RAG, retrieval augmented generation. I gave you an example again and again. I am using a model whose training cutoff date was 2020 or 2018, and I asked it about a question which happened in 2024. What will model reply? I do not know. I have not seen this data, right? The model will reply this. How do we make sure it can still reply to us with the latest and the greatest data? This is called retrieval augmented generation. We are not changing the model. We are not training the model. Please, we are not retraining. I don't have millions of dollars, brother. I cannot retrain the model. I have to live with this, right? Old car, right? I have to live with it. But I have to make sure it works at a level of a new car for me. So, prompt, what is the company revenue in 2024? It has been trained on public domain data. This is your internal data. Model has not seen it. When you ask this model to the ChatGPT or the model, they say, can you please tell me which company? And if you say company ABC, it says, sorry, I cannot disclose the information. I have not seen that data. How do you do that? But you are very impressed with the generative capability of these models. You want to use this capability on your model. What you do? The first part is R. R is in RAG. The first part is retriever. What retriever does, when you ask this question, there is a system, there is a software, there is a search engine in your organization which is called retriever. Retriever goes to your databases, to your Excel file, and it searches and brings relevant information, not the answer, relevant information. Maybe it will bring 4 pages of information, which has so many things about company policy, company process, and everything. Now, when this retriever gives this is a context. Now, your model should answer from this context. And what is the context? Company Q1 and 2 revenues were 2 million. I'm sorry, I just thought this example, but I think it will help basically. Q1, Q2 revenue were 2 million, and Q3 was half of Q2. Q4 is not released yet, but it is decided that we will report Q4 as 4 million. So it went into your company database. There was a quarter earning report. It snatched it. It extracted this information. So you have 2 pieces of information now. The model will receive 2 pieces of information. First, the question. The second, what is the second thing model will receive after this retrieval step? The context, the relevant information. Okay. The other part of this is augmentation. Augmentation. Augment is what? You are combining few things. Now you will augment what? Prompt plus context. Prompt plus your Excel file. Prompt plus your workflow automation, right? Prompt plus your research report, right? These two things will accompany to the prompt, right? And then what will happen? Prompt per context. What is the company revenue in 2024 plus? I'm sorry, this is plus is, let me correct that because this is important because we are doing this. I don't want everybody to get the wrong thing. I'll just put okay. So what the model is taking now? What the model is taking? It is getting the context, it's getting the question plus the context. Both things together. Now it is going to the next point. Generation. So the model is receiving the question and the relevant information, the context.
Brother, I have a question. Like this is a in-house system, right?
Yes, yes.
So my search process is limited when I'm using a public system like ChatGPT. I won't be able to get latest information till they
Correct.
give me, sir.
That is correct.
So this is a limitation of this.
This is why we implement RAG. We implement RAG for this purpose. We implement RAG to use the generative AI capabilities of these systems on our enterprise data.
In-house data.
In-house data. Enterprise in-house data. So thank you. I think this is the correct word. In-house enterprise data. Yes.
But this commercial GPT model, they also use RAG. They just go to internet to search that information.
Yeah. Definitely. So what happened? Now recently they have the new models can access the internet, but the old models were there. They were limited to what they have learned. So the example of the the cutoff date, after cutoff date, if anything new has come, then it will not be able to answer it. So, but there are new models which have the capability, they can go to the internet also to fetch information. Brother is right, but by default, these models after the knowledge or training cutoff date, no, they will say no. So and the second case is enterprise data. So interestingly, what happens at the generative capability, can you see the answer? The company revenue was 9 million, however Q4 is estimated. So what it did, it studied the context, it studied the question, and it generated an answer depending on the question. And if you see the prompt, this context is very simple, by the way, that it is estimated, it is half, and this calculation. These are very complicated scenarios where the context is brought from 7 different documents, 7 different places, and the data is entirely separate. Some processing has to happen, some intelligent person has to see and combine and compute that data and create the answer. This is called RAG, retrieval augmented generation.
Is this not an AI agent then?
Yes. So brother said this is not an AI agent. Brother, if I say over here at the time of the generation capability, if I define a system prompt, you are an AI agent focused on analyzing company revenue filing. You are expert in you are an expert AI revenue analyst. You can basically generate complicated reports. What the model will do, if I give the system prompt, I can call that implementation, that model implementation as a revenue agent, AI revenue agent. So this is very simple definition because agent will need memory, tools, and things like that. But what are the tools for this agent? The tool is the retriever, which takes the data from the systems and print. So when you see this is very important for us. These systems, they know how to analyze our data, unseen data. He has not seen my company report because this is very restricted and confidential data, yet it is able to generate a revenue report out of it. This is called RAG, retrieval augmented generation, right? So yeah, please.
So basic fundamental question there. When I log into the browser, I can see the ChatGPT. Probably I can go through this flow. I can find my question and getting an output.
Right.
And this flow happens there. But how we transform that into an agent to be on its own? So every day I can go, or every quarter I can go and look at the data.
Yeah. So normally, what we do, basically we create a wrapper around this. So these models are exposed through APIs, through links. So these models will always exist there whenever you go. So you create something around them, and you basically call that model with a context or with a system role. So remember, if you're using Azure OpenAI model, this model will remain till it is retired. If you give it a system prompt around it, it can basically take that ownership. It will exist as long as that model exists, and then you can use it. It's just using the same API, same call for your specific context. Like this building. Let's say this building is a LLM, right? There are places over here, and what happens? You say this room is for generative AI from today. You wrote in the door. This building will exist. This room will exist forever. As long as this instruction is on the door, that room will always be used for generative AI. Nobody will come in and start delivering the politics lecture. This is the way it is. The Gen AI model exists. Azure OpenAI model exists. You create a banner on top for your use. You say this is my room, and whoever accesses http abc.com, this is your agent, because you have given a system prompt to it. But at the back end, it is going to the same model which everybody else is doing.
So technically it is put a wrapper around and it deployed in the cloud and access to the API. So maybe the screen is not.
It's a persona by system prompt. Same model, giving it a persona. You are expert AI agent doing this work. The same model will start working in that. This is called AI. This is called, because normally why, just it's off the topic, but just give me why AI agentic is becoming so famous. This has been proven that if you ask this model generic questions and same model, so what happens? Let's say you have a business problem. First you have to analyze it, then you create a report, and then you have to put it in a very specialized format. If you try to do all of this in one prompt, model quality decreases. So what they do, they do the first level, creating the report as an agent, which has a very specific prompt of only generation of the report. The second is the analysis. So the same model, but this very specific system prompt once on the analysis part. So what you do, you basically differentiate your request into 3 parts, and each model is assigned different personas. Same model, different persona, and he becomes expert in that. And so you divide a problem into small steps, and for each step you create an agent. So model just focuses or gives all of his mental strength on the scope of the work you have given to that. This is why AI agentic workflows are becoming very popular. So just let me, I know people asked about some resources and certifications basically. So these are, you can go to the Microsoft. There are some AI credentials basically which you can study, and there are some prompts examples on site. You can go and have a look on them. Then there is basically a certification from Microsoft which is called Azure AI Fundamentals. So brother, remember one thing, right? Remember one thing. When you go to a professional level, so we know, we talk about this when we work with customers. LLM is a very important part, like computer CPU is a very important part to do all the processing and everything, right? But CPU is a part of the story. The LLM is a part of the story. LLM is not the whole solution. Unless you're doing simple prompts and asking the model and getting the answers, that is very simple. Like, we are doing it through ChatGPT. But if you want to put that GPT in your organization, you need some tools. You need some, for example, let's say I will give you an example. Let's say I want to implement a GPT on my data with, I have 20 PDF files or 100 PDF files. So what I need to do? To implement this RAG pattern, I need to have a database where I can extract those files and store that data in a database. Step 1, right? Because my model will need that data to make a prediction. Second thing, I need to have a retriever. I need to have a system which can retrieve the relevant information. You will not need, on your question, you don't want model to give 700,000 words. You just want to give them a specific context which is relevant to your question. In this case, my question was, what is the company revenue in 2024? My retriever went and it only brought the relevant information. It did not bring my whole 80 GB of data from my files. It just brought the relevant information, because remember each token is dollar. Each token spent processing done by the model is dollar value. So this is why the intelligent retrievers, which has the capability to bring the relevant data, can return the relevant data and pass to the model, is very important. That's why RAG is getting so much famous. That's why RAG is getting so much famous, and the quality of the system is this, that these retriever systems are able to retrieve the minimum information with maximum impact, with maximum quality, by saving cost. Because remember, these models context window have really increased. You can input 128,000 or 100,000 tokens also in these models, which are huge number of words. But you don't want to do that, because every input token costs. You just want to put relevant information. Am I making sense over here? So this is where this is why I'm saying you need to attach yourself in your growth path to one of the providers, hyperscalers, because every hyperscaler, have their cloud, right? And every cloud provider has their AI. So this is Microsoft AI. Microsoft AI has all these components. They have components which can ingest the PDF, Word, Excel, or other documents, crack them, and make them available to the Gen AI models, right? And then you can start using them. Okay, so this is how this whole works, right? So having said so, this is basically what we have, and then the resources and certifications. So I know we are just on the top of the 10 minutes there, so I will just finish up this topic, and we can use the time for any questions and answers basically. Yes.
What is the, like from deep learning, machine learning, deep learning, we have come to generative AI. What is that next?
Okay, brother has said that we have come a long way from AI, machine learning, to generative AI. What is next? So now the race is AGI, the models which can exceed human intelligence, the models which can beat us in our intelligence. And if you have asked me this question 5 years back, I would say no, this is decades away. But now I would not give this answer. I think it's not far away. I don't know when it will happen, but trust me, it is not far away. Very soon we will see model exceeding human intelligence. I think that's what. So this is the next AGI, and every big provider is competing. Sorry, brother. Yes, please.
Yeah. So I guess like when we're building products, how do you decide between automation using some sort of agentic flow or using some sort of multimodal flow, or like using MCP? Like thinking through all these different ways that you can use like agentic flows on building products. Like, do you use any sort of process to decide like, hey, this is just automation, this is actually using AI, this is actually maybe some multi-.
Okay. Brother, question is that how do you decide on which model to choose, and whether it will be in agentic AI, like which agents and which models to choose. So, so when you go to the internet, every model, when any company releases a model, they release some benchmarks. These benchmarks are the scores, model scores on certain tasks. Like there are certain, like GPQA is this one benchmark. MMLU is one benchmark. So these benchmarks are, one of the benchmarks is like multi-choice question and answers. So these models are tested on multiple choice question and answers for grade 10, grade 11, USMLE, PhD, bachelor's and master's of computer science, masters of computer engineering, and so many. And then they release a score, right? So I can tell you easily the top of the model, they are scoring around 83-84% now as we speak on these whole benchmarks. So we understand it, and then based on our use case, what we are using, we say which benchmark is relevant to us. So we create our model on the basis of that benchmark, because every model is great, but some models are good in one task and some models are good in other tasks. We choose based on that information, right? And then when we create an agent, the model which we select, we just create a wrapper around it, and we say you are an agent to do this thing, and then you have a working agent actually. So please remember, AI agent is not a different technology. AI agent is just giving some personalized prompts on the existing models. This is how you create an agent. Yeah, you can attach tools with it, you can attach something, but this is a very basic definition. An agent is a persona who can answer questions, who has specific this, and he can use tools and memory, right? Right, brother? So this is how it works. How do you create a
around like when you build? So like if I could build like a wrapper around an agent, right? Someone else can also do this. If I'm building something specific, like what would make my process like indistinguishable that someone else can understand?
Okay, so that all depends on the design of the product. For example, let's say this is I want to implement this system for users basically. So one of the benchmark may be that how many concurrent users it can support, 100, 1,000, 2,000. If I can support 4,000 users, it means my reach is big. It means my architecture is scalable. How securely I handle it. What is the quality of the model answers, right? So hallucination, how I'm controlling the hallucination, I'm controlling the other factors. So there are so many differentiated factors which we can use and which we can use. So these are some of the things which differentiate, but remember the brains are same, the back-end brains, the models are same with very slight capability difference. It's all the people who are designing it, they make it a very unique product, a very intelligent product actually, right? These models have capability to do anything what you want, right? So this is something. So please, when we are done with this, go to azureopenai.com and try to get some free subscription, sign it off, start deploying AI services, start practicing them. Or maybe if you want to start with prompt engineering, so for example, I can show you, these are some of the good links basically where you have some examples basically. So I was able to see this site is good. This is about some prompts at how, so see text summarization, like for example, this is the prompt and you want to say explain above in one sentence, right? So for example, this is the prompt. So this is a context, this is the context, and this is the ask. So it is able to summarize it, right? Or if you want to use the generative capability, just asking explain antibiotics, right? And then things like information extraction, right? So this is some sort of article. What we are asking the model is mention the large language model based product mentioned in the paragraph above, right? So this is the brother your case, like you have an Excel file. So I will attach the Excel file, I will give the Excel file and ask just one thing down. Looking at the data above, can you see what is the data in this file and how it does, right? And then question and answering also we discuss, answer the question based on the context below. And what is the context? So you are basically now guiding the model to forget what he has learned, just use this context to answer this question. This is an example of RAG basically, because you are augmenting the prompt with your context. So the model will respond only on this data, it will not go to the knowledge it has and start answering the questions, right? So we are working in IT, we do review of the of different things, right? Like many of us are working in the field where we review the logs of the systems or our signals basically. So we can basically use these systems to do this thing. Yes, please, sister. Yeah.
My question is, at the end of the presentation, what is the challenge that we need to take up as human to be future ready for this?
The challenge which we need to take is basically, or I would not say, I would say it's a good question, the path. So when I was on this is a good question, and let me go back to this slide. And I said, what can we do to take this challenge, right? So first of all, start using these models in your daily life. Whatever work related, domain related you are working in, try to get familiar. So it will help you in two ways. It will help you to practice prompt engineering. It will help you to align yourself to the model, how model thinks and how you think, so that becomes a very critical role of you. Because when you go to a job, one person who spent $10 in answering a question, another person who spent $1 in asking the same question and getting the same answer, definitely that is a very big performance benchmark from a person. Why? Because I am smart enough to tell the model very specific guidelines to get my question in 3 lines and get my answer in 2 lines. And there was a person who was experimenting. He put the same question in 20 lines and got the answers of 10 lines and neither the question was relevant nor the answer was relevant. So definitely prompt engineering, work with these models, like get any subscription. There are so many prompt engineering guides on the internet, all right? Start practicing with them. Tomorrow when your company goes on an AI transformation, they will have data, they will ask you, can you please apply Gen AI on my data? Then at that time you will be prepared what to ask and how to answer these questions. And regardless of the company also, even for your daily work, you can enhance your productivity. Writing an essay or an article or a revenue or a report of 40 lines looking at 10 different documents, you can do it very quickly with these prompts in 1 minute, right? So this is how you start it. And the second thing is this: create an account in any of the providers like Azure, OpenAI, others. Start practicing on those. And let me tell you very for sure that the documentation of these systems usage are great. They are built for you and me with very little knowledge, and then we can start basically taking it. So this is, sister, this is some of the, and then I also and then what you can do on that specific provider, you can search certification path of AI. For Azure AI, there is an AI 900 certification. Every cloud provider provides a certification path. You can look at that. Lot of documentation and is available. But remember, please do not, certification is good to have, but do not keep this as a target. Target the learning during that path, because at the end of the day, certification matters. But if you can appear on an interview and you can answer the questions, they will not ask you that you are certified. They will just ask you, you understand the concept. What they want when you come on a job, from first day you start using these models and generating value, right? So this is, and the third thing, and the good news I said that once you master one technology, you are good in all. You will not be worried that OpenAI release this model, Azure release this model, what I will do, there will be slightly skill maintenance which is in every, but it will not be a different ballgame altogether, right? So so this is what the answer is, right? Any other question? Yeah, we are already over time, like by 2 minutes. Yeah, so we need to basically leave the room also. So going forward, what I would suggest, if it makes sense, maybe we can together create a group or something. Let's start your learning. So I want this not to be the last one interaction. Let's keep learning and let's share with each other.
Assalamu alaikum, everybody. My name is Yusuf, and thank you for tuning in, and thank you to Brother Safdar. So if you want to rewatch anything from the AI workshop, it's going to be uploaded to my YouTube channel.
Awesome.